Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to this Zeald webinar, the 12th in our Keep Calm and Get Digital series. My name is Jarrah, and I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. So we've got the guidance on how we can operate under level 2, but at this stage, no date as to when it will arrive. Right, this just reinforces why it's so important to have strong lines of communication with your customers via social media, so that you can let them know when you're open and how you're going to go about selling. We have some fantastic speakers today. Backed by popular demand, we have Lisa sharing some of her expert advice on how to get started with social media, and joining us for our expert panel discussion, we have Nidhi. It is a pleasure to have you back today. Just a little bit of housekeeping. We will be recording this webinar, so if you miss part of it, you will be able to view this later on in the day on our YouTube channel. If at any point you wish to ask some questions, we have a little Q&A button here in your Zoom controls. If you post a question through there and it's appropriate while the speaker is presenting, I will interrupt and we'll discuss the question at the time. Otherwise, we will hold questions to the Q&A section we will have at the end. So feel free to post questions at any time, and we'll try and we'll endeavour to answer them as we go. So that's, there's actually the notes on that. Should probably click that through. So I'll stop sharing now, and I'd like to invite Lisa to take over and take us through her presentation on Social Media 101. Thanks, Lisa.
Awesome, thanks Jarrah, and hi to everyone here today. I do have quite a bit to cover, so hopefully I won't take too long or go too quickly, but trying to get a lot of important notes out to everyone today. So what are we going to cover today? Well, basically we're going to touch on different social media platforms, different marketing posts, video versus text for your posts, and also a quick reminder about community management. So kicking into it, we have different social media platforms. So there are a lot of social media platforms out there, and it might be hard knowing where to start. One of the key factors in order to pick a social media platform is thinking about where your audience will be. Asking questions such as where are your competitors mostly active, and also what type of content do you have to offer to your clients will be very important questions to think about when selecting these. So another factor with the social media platforms, just focus on doing one or two of these and getting it right. Don't try and stretch yourself too much. So today we have a lot of platforms out there, but we are focusing on the most commonly used ones. So first of all, Facebook. Facebook has and still is dominating the social media market, with most users worldwide. A positive to this is that it's relatively easy to use, and it connects easily with websites through share features as well. So quite often you might be on a blog or something like that, and there's just a little share button to share to your Facebook page. It also has lots of content options. So these are text, images, and videos. It also has the widest range of audience types, and so it is quite suitable for most businesses too.
I suppose if you're going to get started, it's really the place to start. Just about everyone's got a Facebook account.
Definitely, definitely, and I think it's just something people are probably most comfortable to use as well. Moving on to our next one, so Instagram is one that many people have heard about. It is more a visual platform, so you need to be thinking more of imagery and unique photos that stand out. So for example, an industry I've seen that's changed quite vastly with Instagram are cafes and restaurants. You now get beautifully amazing plated food because they want you to take a photo of it and put it on Instagram and promote them. So that's sort of thoughts there. And another area is tourism, you know, especially right now, NZ tourism. If you are going somewhere, capture the place you're going, promote that place within New Zealand and share it on Instagram, you know, promote that experience. Because that's what Instagram's about.
Yeah, and the great thing is just everyone's got this high-powered camera in their pocket just about these days. And so it's actually really easy to get great photography and get it shared out through one of these platforms. It's not something you need to do slowly. It can be done just like that in an instant, especially if you're in that tourism sector.
Yeah, no, definitely. I guess the phones these days are more about the newest camera technology than they are about the phone sometimes. Cool. So something with Instagram though is hashtagging is basically the common tool used to make your content more discoverable or searchable. I think a key thing for businesses here is define your core business hashtags and be conscious not to over hashtag. So don't just chuck in every hashtag you can think of. Keep a core amount of them for your business and then maybe a couple that relate to that post as well. And although Instagram does have a wide range of users, I think the content and audience types are a bit more limited than what Facebook is, for example. So you do need to consider if Instagram fits your brand and your business and what you're trying to achieve. In saying that though, Facebook and Instagram are linked, which means if you post to one, you can easily link it through to the other. So that is another key thing there, where you could actually be doing essentially 2 platforms while only really managing the one.
That's what happens when you get as big as Facebook. You find something else you like and say, "I'll buy that." So it owns Instagram as well.
Great. And so LinkedIn is our next one that I'm talking about today. So here the audience, I think, is a major difference. So when it comes to LinkedIn, it is more for business and connecting to and networking with other companies, brands, and professionals. So with that, if you are looking to use LinkedIn, you're thinking about promoting your business brand, building who you are as a business, and connecting with like-minded business brands and professionals in that space. It does have similarities to Facebook though, so again, it could be an easy transition. So it does have similar content options, text, images, and video, as well as the users engaging by shares, likes, and comments. And I understand, Nidhi, you've got a bit of an example here for LinkedIn.
Yes, Lisa. Hi, Jara. How are you today?
Thank you.
I believe LinkedIn is perfect for companies who are actually looking for B2B marketing. And you can also use LinkedIn to share some industry specific events or news about your company. So LinkedIn is for the audience who are not the younger ones, at least. So the audience who are 30 plus and up to 70 years. So the business owners basically. So moreover, it's a very engaging platform for recruitment agencies. I believe recruitment agencies can use this platform a lot. They can make connections and can do the networking required to find the right talent. And also you can also use this social media channel to attract top talent for your company as well. And I believe that you should encourage your employees also to connect with the company's LinkedIn page. It builds the brand reputation also.
Fantastic.
Great point. Thank you, Nidhi. Yeah, great for business to business. LinkedIn's just a bit more serious, right? It's and so a great place for a business to have a voice.
Yeah, you cannot post fun stuff there.
Yeah, no cats here, please.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then next I'm going to YouTube. So YouTube is a video driven platform. And when we talk about YouTube as a social media platform, we are thinking more along the lines of video advertising and not so much the day-to-day or week-to-week posting of full video content, which I think generally for YouTube, people try to aim for 10 to 15 minutes really to get there. So for advertising, you need to, YouTube has a very wide and varied range of audiences. So again, similar to Facebook, there's a lot out there and a lot of people that you can target for what you're trying to promote. It is linked through on Google advertising. So if you are utilizing things such as Google AdWords, it's actually an easy extension to that as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
And also I have some amazing statistics to share here. I mean, I just read this article yesterday. There was a 43% increase in YouTube visitors during this pandemic. So I think it's the most popular channel nowadays to advertise on. So you should be thinking about moving some media budget on YouTube now. Make sure you have short videos there. I mean, 30 to 60 seconds video only, which clearly conveys your brand message. I mean, I have one classic example here. One of my childcare center, they create walkthrough videos and they post that using their YouTube ads. And it has really brought good visitors there on their website and more inquiries.
Awesome. That is actually a really good fact of how much YouTube has increased during the current world state, we should say. I think another thing with YouTube as well is if you do have existing TV budget, then you definitely should be looking to extend to YouTube. You probably already have the content created, and it is something that's quite easily then to tie it in with that.
It does actually, yeah, so it does actually really extend your reach there. What you can do is if you've got a TV commercial campaign going out, you can actually have YouTube ads running for the next half hour around those commercials, targeting your target demographic. And as you see on that picture where someone's dual screening, you've got to remember that most people watching a standard TV have also got a tablet or a smartphone in their hand, and they're doing both at the same time. And so the efficacy of advertising on TV does actually get increased if you actually put some of that budget onto YouTube as well. That said, with the targeting you can get, potentially YouTube's maybe all you need. Yeah.
That's definitely next level, Jar.
Okay.
So before picking a social media platform, you will also need to think about what content you will be able to keep creating. And obviously the more creative side of the business is what that looks like. So we're just going to cover off a few content types that we've already talked about. First one is text-based content. So this is where the text is the main part of the content you want your audience to engage with. So reading an article or a blog, for example. We then also have image-based content where the image is the center focus. So you're aiming to drive an emotion and engagement from your audience through this image. You may have a little bit of text or narrative around it, but most of the time the image is powerful enough to stand alone. And then of course, video-based content too. So this is really a combination of image and text to get across your key message. So as here you want to be thinking about short, sharp, and snappy, like Nadine said, 30 to 60 seconds, because no one really waits for maybe 2 minutes down the line to find out actually who you are or what you are promoting.
Yeah, the key here as well is to front load your content. So if you've got a little piece of like a gold or a key point you want to get across, always put it at the start of your text or at the start of your video, and then you earn people's attention so that they'll actually watch the rest of it or read the rest of the information you have. It's a really important tactic there when creating content is to front load it.
Awesome. I think aligning the content with your brand will make your job easier as well, especially if you're already doing other marketing. So for example, if you already write a weekly blog for the business, don't waste that content or that time. Use the blog as a content for your post. Don't sort of try and reinvent the wheel and go, okay, we'll do a blog, but then I only want image for Facebook. Just you've already made the content, get it out there. Another clever idea is also you can actually engage your customers or your audience into providing it for you. So I've noticed quite a lot of clothing brands these days, they get the people who are wearing their clothes to send them their best snaps of their minute or their wildest snaps. If it's arts and crafts, get people to share their creations to you, and then what you can do is use that content to highlight what your audience are doing, and it creates content for you.
That's fantastic.
So we're a small expert tip here, and it already slightly covered it, but if you are starting out, pick one platform and do it well. Don't overextend yourself by trying to manage it all, as with social media also comes in community engagement. And that's something we'll talk about a bit later on as well. So now that you've picked your social media platform, you may be thinking, what next? And this is what we're covering off now. So we're going to cover off about 3 different types of posting or advertising you can do. And first up is the good old organic one. So organic, what does that mean? It means that the content you are posting is not driven by paid advertising. It gives you the flexibility to be posting what you want, when you want. But I do recommend you have some sort of posting and ideas schedule in place. Organic content is that mostly being used to engage and reach your existing audience. However, due to, I guess, the algorithms is the best way to put it, of the different platforms, there's probably not as much reach as what you think. So the organic reach is sort of 1 to 2% to start off with of your followers or subscribed fans. The good news though is that you can influence or increase that percentage. And how can you do that? Basically by getting higher engagement from your audience, and that will start getting you higher reach. So what that means is have your content and your audience be interacting with it. So have them doing likes, comments, and shares, and trying to put out content there that people are wanting to do that on.
Cool. A good tip there. Oh, sorry, you're about to do a tip. I'll let you go. Your
No,
tip
no,
just in
no, 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 it's all
Yeah. I was going
right.
to say, often something as simple as asking a question is really good. That actually gets people responding. It starts to encourage engagement right from the word go. And so if you're relying on organic content to get cut through, then you really need to have an engaged, like be trying to get those likes and shares and comments, or otherwise it just won't reach the people that you want to. And you're really going to need to rely on some paid advertising.
Definitely. And you've got to think about it, what the platform's doing is as people engage, the platform's going, oh, we sent it out and there was some engagement, this must be good. So then the platform goes, let's send it out a bit further and there's more engagement. There's obviously a lot more to their algorithms, but that's the simplest one that we know about.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah, if
Yeah.
it tests it and says, oh, some people like this, I'm going to show it to more people. Yeah, that's what you're going for.
Well, you would always hide a bad haircut, right?
Anyone get a haircut right now?
Cool. So my expert tip isn't what Jara said, which is awesome. So I did slightly touch on it, but have a posting schedule on how often you will post and what content you will post. So I think that's very important. And, you know, for our webinar series, we do that. We put together a schedule of when we're having webinars and what the idea for those webinars are. Otherwise, you're sort of scrambling last minute to get it together. So the next post that we're coming across is boosted or sponsored posts. So these are sort of an in-between towards your organic and then moving into paid advertising. And so they are essentially existing organic posts that you have decided to put some advertising budget into to get a bit more reach. They are a quick way to dip your toe in the water and you can start and stop it quite easily. They come with some really quick and simple setup instructions as well. Facebook in particular, you just hit the boost button and it pops up with a box for you to start filling out. So why would you use your boosted posts? When you are just starting out, it's a good way to get new followers, as what it does is it extends the reach of your posts to both your existing audience and potential new customers. You are paying for the post to be seen more. To know whether to boost or not, though, that's always going to be the hard question. But what you should do is look for your boost posts that have higher levels of engagement from your current audience. So generally you'll boost a post after it's had a little time to reach out to your audience organically. Another consideration could be, is it an important one-off milestone or is it something like a news article? And so that could be another area where you might consider boosting that post to get that word out there. And then, you know, you don't want to be spending money and not really get any return on investment. So you should be looking to boost posts with some sort of hook or engagement to get that new customer on board. So whether it's liking your page, going to your website and signing up for your email, or perhaps even, you know, going through to one of your products to look to purchase it. And my expert tip here is if you are just starting out, make sure you include a target audience. The options are pretty straightforward when you are doing these, but so good idea not to skip them. Without a target audience, when you are boosting or having a sponsored content, what it means is it could end up potentially in front of the wrong people, and then you're not getting the results you're after, and then you may not want to basically put more budget towards these types of things.
Also, Lisa, I would like to add something here. I believe there are many objectives which you can set up, like app installments, or you can just increase website clicks from these ads and generate leads also. I mean, you can also use the custom feature, which is already there in the backend. So ideally, I believe you should always set up a Facebook pixel before starting these ads out. Facebook pixels actually give you some accurate results, which you really want to think about and decide your further marketing budget on that. So I think installing a Facebook pixel and embedding that code in the website is very important before starting these ads out.
Fantastic. Good tip for those that are looking more towards Facebook. No, definitely.
Yep.
And our last sort of post for today is the campaign and display. So campaign and display are a formal and structured advertising approach. They take constant reviewing and refining to ensure your advertising spend is being utilized to get the best return on investment. What they have are clear business outcomes. So this campaign, as an example, is being set up to drive people to read our ebook. And therefore the business outcome is someone reading the ebook, which essentially turns into a lead. The next one is creative. So the campaign will have ad copy that has been refined for your business and utilizes your keywords. So, or if it's in the display network, it might be images, banners that are designed with the right messaging and images used for your brand and business. It will also have a delivery plan. So the campaign will have a very clear plan with and a delivery strategy. The campaign will be running for X amount of days. So, 30 days with a spend of $20 a day as an example there. And reports and reviews. So you need to make sure it's something you're reporting on the primary objective of your campaign, and to be reviewing the campaign frequently enough to make tweaks and changes to improve the outcomes. However, you also need to balance this with the fact that you actually have to let your campaign run first and actually get enough data. Otherwise, you are just making tweaks and changes on very small amounts of data.
Cool. Just on that data point, Lisa, just had a message through from Chrissy. She was saying Facebook Watch, she missed it. It is a Facebook Pixel, is absolutely critical when you are collecting data about the performance of your campaign. Just as a rough guide, it's a piece of code that you put onto your website so that you can track what happens when people arrive from your Facebook campaign, either boosted or display campaigns, and then do something on your website, and you can attribute their actions on your site back to the campaign that you're running. It is really, really critical when you're looking at more formal campaigns like this, so that you can then optimize the campaign and improve it like Lisa's talking about.
Great. And more often than not, if you are doing this campaign, it should be sort of set to pay per click. So this means when someone clicks on the ad, that's when you're charged for the click. There are other types such as paid reach, but what they do is they don't actually result in an action all the time. It is just about getting your ad out in front of more people, so more views essentially.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the pay per click as opposed to the reach anyway, because then you're actually paying for an outcome.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so, the expert tip here is, if you aren't sure how, engage a specialist, in particular for the campaigns. So don't blow your money away on it. If you are lucky enough that your business has someone who's specialized in marketing or knows this, then use them, use those skills. Or, you might be in a network where someone's able to give you that guidance, use it. And again, there's obviously a few companies out there definitely who would be able to assist you here as well. But don't blow your budget just, if you really don't know how to be doing it.
Yeah, just a practical tip on that, the organic posts and the boosted posts, if you're just starting out, great place to start. And you don't need to spend much. It could be just a boosted post for $10 or $20, like just to test things and start to see what sort of results you get. But when it comes to running more of a structured campaign in Facebook, yeah, definitely engage a specialist, or if you're trying to get some larger results out, then that's a really good idea too. But don't be afraid of a boost for $20 or something. It can actually really help.
Yes, of course. Thanks, Jara. So our next bit we're looking at is sort of video versus text, because we have looked at different platforms here that cover both. And I think the first thing I do want to say is text works. So with what I have to say, I'm not trying to discount it at all. Blogs, articles have worked for years and they still do. So that's how it's been, and it still works. However, video is more engaging than text. Even audio is more engaging than text. If you think about it with books, people love to read. People are also short on time. So then you see the rise of companies such as Audible. Books read aloud to you. Sitting in traffic, put on a book instead of the radio. Or if you look at another example, you've got podcasts, discussions that would have once been an opinion or a research article. So just think about the way that the world's evolving there and why video has started to become a lot better than text and sitting and reading. So don't be scared by video. So out there, some companies, have beautifully polished videos where the words, the music, the voiceover all work in balance, and they just, they bring up the emotions that you want it to bring up. However, not all of us have those massive budgets, and it's better to try it out than not do it at all. So a quick video on your phone, highlighting your key product while you're in the background talking about it. It's quick, it's easy, and it's done. Or if you are confident enough, you might actually be in the video holding your product and talking about it. I am speaking from experience here, not so much in advertising a product, but I had never ever done a webinar in my life before COVID-19 happened. And then Zeald, as a business, we decided to go ahead and do webinars, and guess what? I'm up first to be the presenter. So, I've worked over the last, 6 weeks now, to improve my approach each time. And that's something you can do with videos that you're looking to create as well. You just keep refining it as you get on, and then you start becoming quite natural at it. Oh, you had something there, Jar?
Yeah, I was just saying, and it's been awesome to see you develop over the last 6 weeks actually, and get really confident in that space too. Just wanted to mention.
Thank you. And then my expert tip, because humans are quite complicated, is to make sure you actually have subtitles on the videos that if you are talking. And why is that? Because as much as we love videos and we love listening to things, most of the time when we're watching things on our phone, in particular little short ads in between what we're scrolling, we have the sound turned off because the TV's also on. And so this also then links back to the point that text still works as well. And then my last little part today is just to talk to you about community management. So it's often the forgotten piece of the puzzle when it comes to social media. And I think people just need to be aware about it. So by responding to your community, what you're doing is you're helping create engagement, which in turn assists with your organic and boosted reach in particular. So how do you do this? You basically respond to comments that people leave on your posts. So one way to not overload yourself here though, is maybe have a business rule. So I will always respond to the first 10 comments on every post I make. And then over time that might grow, and you might eventually have someone who can come and actually deal with all the comments each day. Another tip here is if you don't have something to actually comment back, you can always like it. There's no harm in liking someone's comment. And then the other thing to do is to have a document of standard responses for those trickier comments. So these responses are ones that are aligned with your business, your brand, and your key messaging, and you're often writing them when perhaps you're not engaged with the actual emotion that that person has made you feel when they made that comment. So I think that's very important to do. I do think you need to be in a mindset of, for people that live and breathe social media, reaching out to you through the social media platform is really the equivalent of them picking up the phone and calling you. So if you aren't responding, and I stole this from you, Jara, of course, if you aren't responding to these comments, you're essentially hanging the phone up on them every time they call. And that's not the best look to be having.
Yeah, it's critical. It's a good way to think about it. Yeah, that for these people that live and breathe it, you've got to come to them once you move into the space. You've got to be prepared to have a conversation with them.
And then as your community grows, my expert tip for the today is respond. So if it's negative, respond. Sitting there with no response can look negatively on your business. So other people come along and go, why didn't you respond? Or why didn't you do this? We don't recommend deleting. You should be responding to these, even if it's not the best. It's just the better way to deal with it. But what you need to make sure you're doing is taking it offline. So just a quick apology, please get in contact, and move on. Like, just get them to take it offline with you. The next one, if it's positive, respond. So I did slightly touch on that. So you can respond with a like to their comment, or just, I'm glad you enjoyed that, or great to hear that, that was of service. Really simple things there. And then last bit here, if it makes no sense at all, respond. So I had a great example recently. I've been working on the Zeald social media page. Someone talked to me about 5G networks on a post about Zeald websites, and I really didn't understand. I'm sitting there going, 5G networks is internet, is mobile internet. I don't quite understand. So I crafted a response, which was pretty much my best guessed answer, talking about explaining what I knew 5G networks were, and then talking about our websites, and it worked. So you just got to respond sometimes. And if it's a miss, oh well, move on to the next one. You tried your best. So that is all from me today. I'll hand it back across to you, Jar.
Cool. Thank you very much, Lisa. That was great. So we'll move into the Q&A section now. If you do have any questions about what we've covered today, obviously we're just trying to help you get started with social media. It's very much an entry-level conversation today. But if you've got any more advanced tips that you do want to ask about, that's fine too. So feel free to post those in the Q&A panel. Now, Nidhi, welcome, and thanks for your comments throughout the presentation as well so far. I know you've got some real insight into how this works. Can you give us some real examples of people running social campaigns and what sort of outcomes we got?
Sure, Zara. I have some the best examples so far. The campaigns from one of our clients from the fashion industry. Actually, we did their Facebook ads to boost the posts and create the brand awareness campaigns for them, and it really worked well for them. I mean, in terms of spreading the word, and now she is the top most renowned brand in the bridal market space. So we used to do the sponsored post and some brand awareness campaigns for them, just adding videos and new products launched, and the new fashion trends. And we used to also do the community management for them. So I mean, the amalgamation of these things really worked well for her. And I think for Facebook ads, like we did Facebook ads for her. So if your target audience is niche, like for the bridal market, the audience is niche, you should always use Facebook because it allows you to add those right filters which you want to target. I mean, you can choose the demographics. You can also choose the psychographics according to your target audience.
That's fantastic. I was talking to a marketing specialist the other day, and they mentioned you could even target people based on the app that they've downloaded on their phone. In some
Yeah,
cases,
exactly.
super
I mean,
specific. Yeah.
I mean, for them, I actually targeted people who are single, not married. I mean, you can also target according to that.
Okay. Wow. That's right.
A little bit scary, but it is, it is what's out there these days with the internet. There's a lot of knowledge we can get from that without actually having to fill out much.
That's
Yeah.
right. And so Facebook does aggregate all of that data together and makes it available for you to use as targeting methods. So it's pretty powerful in that regard, but a little bit scary. So we'll talk about Facebook a little bit here. Maybe you could tell us, Nidhi, a little bit about the different types of platforms. What's best to use in your opinion?
Mhm. I believe first the Facebook. Facebook is the most popular and the common platform, and it's also the largest platform everybody is using. And I believe every company should be on Facebook nowadays. Just getting the buzz around and just posting whatever is happening in your company. And apart from Facebook, Instagram, like we have already suggested, LinkedIn, linking the Instagram and Facebook together so that you don't have to post the same post twice. It actually reduces your workload also. I mean, and you're maintaining two platforms together. So Facebook and Instagram. Instagram can also be for the fashion industry, restaurants and travel business. I mean, you can use if you are into creating good imagery for your brand. So you can use Instagram. Plus, I believe LinkedIn for B2B marketing. For recruitment agencies, for example, LinkedIn really works well. So for them, LinkedIn is the best. Also for educational institutions, you can also use LinkedIn platform. And I know we have not covered Twitter in our presentation today. So I would say that if you are keen on doing some stuff on Twitter, so you can use Twitter for making some short messaging or some announcements regarding your business or any discounts or offers you have to advertise on. Basically, it is for immediacy,
Mhm.
Twitter.
Yeah, I read an interesting story about 2 years ago now, where a Qantas plane came into land, and there was some issue with the plane landing, and it trended on Twitter really negatively. And at that point in time, Qantas didn't have a social media manager looking after their Twitter account, so no one was getting proper updated information, and it spiraled out of control on Twitter, and it actually affected their share price quite significantly. And so while Twitter's not quite as big in New Zealand, globally it's pretty massive, but it is very much about that immediacy, as you say. And so
Yeah.
being able to monitor your account and any kind of hashtags that are related to your business is pretty important in that regard. So one thing you've talked about here, we talked about lots of different platforms, but I suppose deciding on the platform comes down to the target market. So how do you define your target market?
One way to define your target market is through Google Analytics. I mean, if you have installed Google Analytics, you can just log in the backend of the Google Analytics and see what are your demographics and what are the behavioral statistics. But just in case you have not installed Google Analytics yet, I would highly recommend that, to be very honest.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just in case you don't have it as of now, you can just brainstorm and actually contemplate on things and think about, like, who are your competitors targeting and who are your current customers and what are their characteristics and what is common between your customers' interests. Basically, you can just segregate two categories: demographics and psychographics. I mean, with demographics, you can just see what age to target, what gender, and what income level, education. I mean, so many segments. And then with psychographics, you can also think about their interests, personality, attitudes. Like, for example, if you are a sports brand, for example, Sterling Sports, and you must be looking into the interest of sports brands and sports celebrities. So just targeting those audience.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. We've got a question that's just come in from Kim. She said, if I'm a business just starting out, how often should I be checking Facebook?
How often checking, or how often she should be
I'm not sure.
posting?
Yeah, so I think checking is what she said. So yeah, it's a good point.
Mhm.
Like, if you're just getting started, do you have to be on there all the time, or is it like a couple of times a day? What did you have some thoughts on that, or?
I'll
Yeah,
take that one, Nadine, first, if
Yeah,
you'd like,
sure,
if you don't mind.
sure.
yeah,
So yeah, it was interesting because I've read a little bit about this, and again, it comes back to actually sitting down and working out what your business rules around it are. Um, whether it's twice a day, but some people sort of say every well, not every 6 hours, but sort of 6 hours within the day. If you do it maybe mid-morning and then mid-afternoon. It really depends, I guess, also how you're working as a business. So if you've got business hours, then naturally you would be thinking to respond within those hours. If you're a business that's sort of 24/7, I know, like New World, I see sometimes they're responding all the time.
yeah,
It's sort of that whole, okay, I'm going to respond up to this time at night. I think the other important thing around responses and checking for those is are you spending? So are you spending? If you're spending, I would pay a bit more attention to it. If it's an organic post, although it's important and to be engaging, you have a bit more leeway to actually be responding there.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay,
I
so
think
yeah,
on an average, within 24 hours, it is advisable to get back to your customers and to respond to those comments.
yep, absolutely. And I think probably even quicker if they've used the chat feature would
Yeah,
be that a
yeah.
fair comment. As I said, it's like the phone ringing, right? If someone's messaging you on chat asking some questions, they're probably quite likely to buy. So I'd want to, personally, I'd be wanting to get onto those really, really quickly. But as you say, Nidhi, on some of the comments, maybe make sure that you've got them within 24 hours is probably quite good. But it really depends, as Lisa said, on how active you're being,
Yeah.
all right? Which is
Yes.
great. So, so
So
talked about.
I was just going to say, a quick tip that you could always consider there is, if you're quite set up on when you check emails, you could have that sort of at the same time you check or do your emails for the day with your clients. So that's also another way to put it.
And just a thought, you could probably set up the Facebook Business Manager app as well, right? So you've got a dedicated app for that, and so you could have that providing you some alerts as well, so that you can check. So you're not having to proactively check. It could be notifying you when there was something that you needed to address, and have that separate to your personal account. Just getting notifications from that could be quite helpful too.
That's exactly what I did. Sorry. Yeah, I
Okay,
set it
cool.
up on my phone, so I do have two separate apps, and it notifies me differently. And that way I wasn't sort of getting confused between the two different apps and what my personal Facebook was compared to what the company one was.
Yeah. So I'd highly recommend making sure you have that separation. You obviously need a personal profile linked to your business profile, but the business profile can be managed out of a dedicated ad, which you can use. I think of all the things we talked about, if we're talking about somebody that really just wants to get started in the social media space, organic posting is really not going to cut it when you first start because you don't have the subscribers, and so it's going to be very difficult to get going. I see that the boosted or the sponsored ads are probably going to be really helpful for people in that space. Do you have any tips, Nidhi, perhaps on how to boost, getting started boosting ads?
Um, I believe, first of all, your objectives should be clear if you are sponsoring a post, or I mean, you are triggering some Facebook ads in your backend. So I believe that the objectives, like whether you have objectives of getting leads, or you have objectives of app installments, or you have some other kind of objectives, like some people want people to click on a particular landing page on a website. So it highly depends on your objective. So it's important to set your goals first, and then, like I told, using the Facebook pixel, I know I'm just using this word a lot just because it's highly important for Facebook ads. So then using the custom audience feature, because it really gives you the best ideas you can use for your target audience in order to start with your Facebook ads.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. All right. Well, so we're kind of getting close to the end of what we've got time for. So thank you very much, Nidhi and Lisa. Just do a little bit of a recap here, and we'll wrap up. So there's a few things that we do know at the moment. How people buy and how businesses sell has actually radically changed since March 2020. It was actually only like 2 months ago, but it feels like a lot longer. So letting people know how you've changed and how you've adapted to this new situation is critical, especially with the fact that level 2 is around the corner. We don't know when, but you're kind of preparing for it. How you're going to let people know as soon as you've opened, and what you're doing. So social media provides a fantastic medium to engage with your customers and let them know that you've changed, or how you've changed. So potentially it's a post letting people know that, and then you boost it to your local area so that people within your area know that you're open and that you're now operating. So those businesses that engage with customers and keep them up to date are simply going to be more likely to retain their customer base. So if this is an entry-level presentation that we've got today, so social media can be a bit scary if you're not familiar with it. Hopefully you can follow some of the guidelines we provided today, and it could really become your best friend. You could get really used to it, and it could be something that really helps and supports your business over the coming months. So a little bit about Zeald. Zeald has helped 15,000 businesses transform digitally over the last 20 years. With the upheaval that COVID-19 has inflicted on New Zealand, we simply want to do our part and help as many Kiwi businesses as we can transform digitally so they can survive and perhaps thrive in this new world. If you'd like some support on social media or any digital program, we do offer a free strategy session with our team of experienced digital business strategists. If you would like to take advantage of this, please just let us know in the feedback form that we'll be sending out later today. And I do encourage you to fill out that feedback form that we send out. We really want to know how you're finding our webinar series. We also want to use that to inform some of our future topics as well. So please take that opportunity to let us know if there's something that you'd like us to cover in our future series. Our next webinar is actually Wednesday, the 13th of May, and it's covering how to improve conversion on e-commerce sites. This is critical. If you've got an e-commerce site or you're thinking about getting one, then knowing how to improve the rate at which people buy from you is vital. This helps you make the most out of every single website visitor. Right, so join us on Wednesday next week to find out a little bit more about that. If you do need an e-commerce store urgently, please check to see if the Get E-commerce movement is right for you by visiting the Zeald website. We have already allocated 500 free e-commerce websites to New Zealand SMEs in need, and we're looking to release another round of free sites next week. All you need to do is go along to our website and fill out the registration form to reserve your place in that next allocation of free sites. The sites are free to set up with 25 products loaded, free hosting for 12 months, and the only cost to you is a 2% success fee of transactions. And so it's as simple as that. We're making it, de-risking it essentially for Kiwi businesses to get online and start transacting. A special thanks once more to our guest speakers today. Lisa, Nidhi, your time is very much appreciated, and we thank you for your thoughts. That is all the time we have for today, folks. Yeah, I wish you a good day and a good luck.
Thanks, Jarrett.
Thank you, Jara.
Thanks, everyone.